You're awesome. You need this. Thank you.
But anyway, so without further ado, right now I'm off track because there's no slide.
You're so good.
Y'all, so I think I've shared with y'all how much I love Dawn. So I've not been in this role as long as a lot of other team leaders have, and she's also new to our region since I've been here. Has been a wealth of information, a wealth of support, and I think I share with y'all, she is just an amazing human being. So I'm very grateful for you to be here. So,
Oh, it is. I'm so high five it.
okay. Y'all, give it up for your team leader and your OP and your team.
When Tara sent the message and asked for me to come, I was like, all capital Y-E, yes, to be here. So super excited. Matter of fact, Jason, where are you? Oh, there you are. I think I might move the regional office here. If I could just take your plane, that would help. That would help. Okay. So, why do you think he's here? Yes, my husband is here in the back also. So it's so good to be here. As Sarah said, I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and how I ended up here. So I've been with Keller for 17 years. How many of y'all in the room have been less than 5 years with our company? Not surprised. How many have over 10 years? Yeah, we're growing and it's so exciting. So I've made it 17 years. Started off just like you, many of you in this room, as an individual agent walking into real estate. And I came into this industry though, right after doing what I call the number 2 American dream. So what's the number 1 American dream? Home ownership. You guys get to partake in that every single day of helping people fulfill that. Matter of fact, in the United States, we have generations of people who have never owned their own home, right? So does anybody know what the number 2 American dream is in the United States? You're all part of it too.
I'm going to go with retirement.
I love that you said that because it seems to be a little bit of what everybody wants these days, including the ones that just come out of high school. What is that? What do you guys think would be the business ownership, right? To own my own business. Well, I graduated from college. I was the first in my family to do that. Matter of fact, today I'm going to share a little bit about my journey as I unpack one of the stones from my new book that's coming out on September 2nd. It's called Trailer Park CEO. Now, a lot of times when people hear that, it's like, oh, Dawn, or I've got DMs. Dawn, you own trailer parks. Because they know I'm in real estate. I'm like,
You're like, I wish.
No, the other. I just occupied one. Right? Occupied one. So I grew up in a trailer in South Louisiana, in this very, very small town called Bush. And it's so rural and so small. It was right next to another town called Sun, S-U-N. So when you think of rural, you don't get any more rural than Bush and Sun. That about sums it up of where I grew up. But I was the first to go to college, went to college. And when I graduated college, I graduated with a major in biology and a minor in chemistry. What does that degree usually mean to go on for?
A teacher.
Maybe a teacher, I like that. But the doctor, pre-med, that's your typical pre-med degree, right? You want to go into that. Well, it was the first time when I, got into that season of my life and graduated that I woke up with this little word that we're going to talk about today, and it's called fear. Anybody experienced fear before? Yeah. And sometimes because of fear, we'll step into failing moments. Has anybody ever failed in here in this room before?
Oh,
Yeah. Because when we fail, sometimes we have this fear of what? Why don't we want to celebrate our failing moments in our life? What do we have a fear of? Embarrassment, shame, right? And so it's really hard to overcome those things. Well, I started to experience that. And so instead of going to med school, what I decided to do was become a drug dealer. I mean, because when you live in the hood of the trailer park, you know all about that drug dealing. And so I stepped into my first corporate job and became a legalized drug dealer. And that legalized drug dealer was I was a pharmaceutical rep for one of the largest farm companies in the United States. So I had arrived by all measures of my family. And the reason we do that is, one, that I had a salary that was more than if I added up my little family in the trailer park, way more. Matter of fact, I have to go even my extended family, way more than anybody in our family had ever earned. I also got, for the first time, back in the day before everybody had these little personal computers called laptops, I got that laptop. But I knew that I had arrived because I got the most important thing. Now, it wasn't that company car, that Ford Taurus, wasn't that one. It was because I got the good old, the pager, the beeper. That's when you knew you had arrived into corporate. So I got that pager and I just knew it. I was like, you know what? I have arrived. This is the gig. I'm going to be all in. But I woke up a couple years after doing that with a familiar friend. And that familiar friend was here. And see, it showed up this time a little bit differently than it did the time before. This time it showed up with a fear of failing. As I was climbing this corporate ladder and learning all the things that I had not learned in the trailer park, I started having this fear, but what if I fail? What if this doesn't actually turn out to be what it needs to be? Does anybody in the room struggle with imposter syndrome? Right? Well, I started to really become best friends with that imposter syndrome. Started telling myself all of these things of why I could not succeed and why I could not stay there. But I also woke up with this little thing in my stomach that was telling me, but maybe this isn't what I was created for. Maybe this isn't my purpose. And so I called up my boss at that time and gave my 2 weeks notice and said, I am actually resigning. I'm gonna quit this drug dealing gig and I'm gonna go do something else. Now he told me, he says, Dawn, I think you just need a vacation. You've been working really hard. He said, why don't you go to one of those islands, those all-inclusive things, and why don't you just take 2 weeks and go do that? And I was like, that sounds amazing, and probably I should do that. Yet there's something inside of me that says that I was created for more, and that's not gonna get cured by a vacation. And I told him, I said, because something is telling me that I need to go open a coffee shop. Now, this makes no sense in the realm of what I was doing. Matter of fact, my boss was like, no, you really do need a vacation now. My family was like, you need therapy. Like, why would you leave what you're doing to go open a coffee shop? Well, they were also thinking this because it was the year 2000. Now, for my young people in the room, you have no clue what Y2K was, but us older ones, boy, did we think we were not going to survive. So I survived Y2K and wanted to open a small business. Well, in August of 2000, so exactly 25 years ago from today, I opened my first coffee shop. I went on a year and a half later and opened up my second location. The next year, wrote my own franchise agreement because attorneys were too much money to get it approved by the state of Louisiana and started selling franchises of my coffee shop. Over the next couple years, I managed to be able to sell 7 of my franchises and had a really nice Hallmark movie in the making because I had a nice little board of directors and 3 kids at this time in tow working the coffee shops and working that little board. But guess who showed up again? Fear. And this time fear showed up because I truly was experiencing failing moments. Because as my business grew, I had to keep up with the growth of the business. What's our bold law tell us in Keller Williams about our business? First of all, what's the purpose of business? To fund the lifeline. But your business grows to the extent that you do. And so as this business was growing, I was having to grow faster than it. So fear started showing up. And the fear was that, one, if my franchise owners knew that I actually did not know what I was doing, it would probably leave me. If my franchise owners knew that I was trying to failed my way forward into this business, they might not respect me. So instead of just failing forward over and over again, which had led to the success, but unfortunately, I had not been introduced to a whole lot of John Maxwell then, or other people that told me that failing forward was the secret sauce to success. Matter of fact, if you were to go sit knee to knee, heart to heart, and coffee cup to coffee cup with a very successful person, do you know what they'll tell you? Guess what they had a whole lot of to get where they are today? Failure. See, we know this. We know the answer. And today I'm hoping to reframe failure for you so that you'll embrace it and know that it is the secret sauce that you need for your real estate business today. That if you will wake up every day and embrace these failing moments and step out of your comfort zone, you will get to experience the success that others have. But I had to learn this. And so what I call today is influential intelligence. And the reason I call it that is because we're all intelligent people in the room, yes? But sometimes we don't know how to use that intelligence for our influence. And it starts at the very beginning of understanding who we are. So are you someone who is sometimes not engaged? What leads to non-engagement? What leads to you not to be engaged sometimes? That isolation. Distractions? What kind of distractions?
Freaking around.
It's amazing what that little finger does. People want to blame social media all the time. You know what our real problem is? It's not social media, it's this finger. If we could control the finger, we wouldn't do those habits. It's like people want to complain about this, they are not the weight or the health that they are, and they blame fast food and all the things in our food. But you know what really the problem is? It's our elbow. Because we just can't control the elbow. Right? Okay? What about exhausted? Anybody ever feel exhausted? I'm gonna tell you, for my leaders, if you went to mega camp, you're still in recovery mode today. Keep hydrating, drink your electrolytes, right? What causes exhaustion?
Lack of self-care.
Lack of self-care? What causes you to be exhausted?
Thinking so much.
Sometimes thinking too much?
For kids.
Oh yeah, I have 5 kids. That will cause it.
Time
Yeah.
blocking rest.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been so tired, but then got amazing amount of energy because you started working on something that excited you, that brought purpose to you? May I reframe exhaustion happens when we're not doing what our purpose is. See, the red book, that Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, starts with why. Simon Sinek wrote a great book that says start with why, because see, when we're on why, when we're living for our purpose, when we're waking up every day and doing the things that we're on purpose, it's amazing how exhaustion might not show up. But what about not inspired? Anybody ever not feel not inspired? What's another word that we can use for not inspired?
Motivated.
Not motivated, right? So how do you find your inspiration? How do you motivate yourself? Do you have a toolbox that you can reach in on those days when you're not feeling inspired and you're not motivated in order to be able to refuel? What is your go-to? Oh, what about that last word? Anybody in the room ever feel overwhelmed? I'll tell you, I experienced overwhelm at the highest level when I stepped into the role as CEO of a hospital. When it makes no sense for a trailer park kid to major in biology and minor in chemistry. That's about the closest I got to med. To own a coffee shop, to be in real estate, to also step in as CEO of a hospital. Well, the reason I became overwhelmed is because I had to wake up every single day being extremely comfortable with the uncomfortable. Sometimes that's where overwhelm shows up for you. is because we have to get really uncomfortable. Really comfortable with the uncomfortable things that hit us in our life. So the question for all of you today is, do you want to be somebody who's inspired, motivated, driven, and full of energy? Do you?
Yes.
So if we want to be that, we have to start looking at our daily habits and our thoughts to see how do we get there. Because this is what I also know. It doesn't happen by chance. See, there are moments you can be inspired. Today, I hope I do inspire you. That is one of my passions, is to inspire people into action, specifically into their calling. But I also know this, because I've been doing this for a long time. At the end of today, you'll get in your car and get in your parking lot and you'll drive off, and you all of a sudden could feel unmotivated and not inspired. Because sometimes we look at these things as like going to a store and putting our arm up and saying, give me that nice ID bag with all of those nutritional elements in there. See, today I want to teach you that in order to do that, we have to figure out how to overcome our failing mindsets in the moment. Most of us are failing daily, which is a great thing. Now, we don't always acknowledge the failing moment. And then sometimes how they show up is that you had set an intention for the day that I am going to accomplish this, and by noon, it's over. You forgot it. But we don't count that as a failing moment. We just push it away. But then sometimes we set up our day and we get halfway through it or at the end, and then we're crippled by some of the failing moments that happen in the day. I mean, we're weighted. It's heavy. And we go home and we have to look at our family members. We have to try to go to sleep at night. We all of a sudden anxiety increases, depression increases. And as I studied this and I talked to more and more successful people, I asked, like, how do you overcome those kind of things? Like the hard days, like when you got the gut punches, when your feet got knocked out from underneath you, how do you get back up? How do you know how to take that one more step? And the very first thing that I want to teach you in reframing the word fail is that we have to start with forgive. See, none of us wake up and truly want to self-sabotage our life. But how many of you self-sabotage your own life? I'll raise my hand first. It's amazing. It's amazing what we do. Sometimes I always say it's not what anybody else does to me. It's what I do to myself. It starts right here. So I first have to forgive that moment. I have to forgive that failing moment. If I cannot forgive it, I cannot go to the next thing, which is to accept it. Now, we here at Keller Williams, we've been exposed. I'm sure have you guys taken Quantum Leap yet? You guys take Quantum Leap? Highly recommend that. But in Business Planning Clinic, I see you have it coming up. 6 personal perspectives. All of our curriculum talks about being accountable versus being what? Victim mindset. See, a victim person approaches failure with blaming others, with passing that on to someone else, or making excuses. See, if you're not hitting your goals today, we can look at that as a failing moment, and then we can make all kinds of excuses around why we're not doing that. But I think the worst thing that we do when we don't accept those moments is that we kind of shove them underneath that rug. See, many of us for our whole life, we've just been kind of like sweeping this stuff under a rug, thinking that no one can see that it's bulging over, that it's become a tripping hazard in our life. And so, how do you accept a failing moment? How do you accept it? If you're walking through those moments, how do you accept it? What do you guys think? How do you accept it?
Facing it.
By facing it? What are some accountability behaviors that we can see?
Like self-reflection, just kind of.
Self-reflection? Yeah. Jocko Willink wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And in that book, or if you follow his podcast, what Jocko says often is that as leaders, we have to take responsibility for our actions, but we also have to take responsibility even when it's not our fault. That's extreme ownership. So extreme ownership in your life with your failing moments is accepting that it happened, acknowledging it, calling it out, not trying to push it under a rug. See, once we do that, we can step into the next part of inspect. Now, this is the painful part. Most of you are like, wait, that forgiveness was pretty hard. Because we can sometimes forgive other people for failing moments easier than we can forgive ourselves because of shame, the shackles that shame puts on us. And then, okay, accepting, that was pretty hard, right? You have to accept it. You have to have ownership of it. But the hardest part is actually this one, inspecting it. And it's back to Daryl. Daryl said it's that self-reflection. Why does inspecting something why can that be so painful?
Because you're reliving the same thing.
You're reliving it. You have to walk through it. You have to break it down. You got to say, how did I feel when I made that decision or lack of a decision? Was I hangry? Was I tired? Was I moody? Was I listening to things I shouldn't have been listening to, so my brain wasn't in the right headspace? Most of us are running towards pleasure and avoiding what? Pain. Does failure feel good? It shouldn't. And yet, inspecting it, breaking it down, knowing like, why did I make this decision? Why did I have this behavior? Why did I not do what I said I was going to do? Why do I lack the commitment? Why did I take that real estate exam? Why did I go to business planning clinic and not implement one thing that we talked about? See, we have to break all that down and see why it's really painful is because when we break it down, who's the common denominator in every single failing moment that we have? Ouch! See, it's easier when we can blame other people. But when we start inspecting our life and all of these things that we say we want to do, we want to accomplish, and that we don't, the common denominator is us. So when we inspect it, you learn something. And that is the final letter, is learn. Now, how many of you in your life have, or maybe you have a friend, hopefully it's none of you in the room, that come to you and they kind of have the same problems over and over again? And they come to you and you're sitting there like, why do you keep doing this? Maybe if you're a parent, you had kids when they were little, like they were just, like, why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing it? It's because they didn't do the first three to learn from it. The definition of insanity is what? We're all a bunch of insane people when we don't learn from our failing moment. We have to be able to break this down and say there's a pattern in our life. Now, if I can get really real with you guys as realtors, you all came out of real estate school. Matter of fact, you might have attended a career night here. And when you're at that career night, maybe Dara or someone asks you, how much money do you want to make in real estate? What is the number one response? Amazing. Inflation happens. like all these things happen. And for 17 years that I've been here, Dara, it has been $100,000. And I love that because it is like the answer. It's something they must be teaching in real estate school for you to come out and say that. Now, why do people say that? Why do we say that when we first come out and we're like, we want to make $100,000? Why do we say that? Because it's six figures.
Melissa said $1 million the first time I asked her.
Great for the 7.
Yeah.
Right? But let me ask you this, because if we can unpack this today, you might recognize a pattern that you're having. What do you think? What are your thoughts around $100,000? Now, I do know this, without knowing you individually and knowing your businesses, I do know that there's people in this room today that have not made $100,000 in real estate. And I know that because when I look at any roster of any market center, whether in this region or the previous region that I used to be regional director of, I would see lots of zeros by a lot of names. Or I would see a lot of agents not capping. And we know what's the average DCI to be a capper in your market here today. What is that?
$50,000.
You guys get it? But we celebrate capping, yet all of you said you wanted to make 100,000. So how do we reframe that? How do we wake up every day knowing what our goals are and to be able to wake up and hit them? How many of you sitting today can write down right now in front of you what your annual income is going to be on December 31st? One? Why can you do that?
I've been looking at it every day since October.
And you had set a goal. When did you set your goal for 2025?
Probably
Because October, in case you didn't get the memo, October 2nd here, because I saw that, you're going to have business planning clinic. See, in our world here at Keller, every October is business planning clinic. That's what we do. So that at least by November, you can set your intentions for 2025. And then now you know every single day what you have to wake up and do. Every single day, you know what you need to do as an agent. Now, I'm going to give you something super exciting. It's the secret sauce to hit your goals. I mean, like secret sauce. Like no matter what your goals are, here's what I know. This will get you. I mean, it'll get you to hit those goals, but it'll also get you to finish the year strong. What is the one thing that an agent should do every single day in order to hit their goal? I mean, secret sauce here. Okay, that's a good one. Go forward. I like that one. Meet people. Okay, so let me ask you this. What's the job description of an agent? What's the first thing? You guys it's always an answer.
Lead.
Then what? Lead. Follow up. Then what?
Conversion.
Go on appointments. Then scripts and role play. All of that is great, but there's only one that is the secret sauce. It's the only one that will actually get you to the closing table. And it's the thing that as agents, we don't do every day.
Create relationships.
Go on an appointment. Go on appointment. See, if you don't go on appointment, there's no chance that you're going to get to the closing table. Yet most of us, we got our real estate license, came into the industry, and we thought somehow, some way, this HGTV experience is going to happen to us, and we don't have to go on appointments to get the $1 million buyers or listing. Matter of fact, if I took most of you and asked for you to give me your digital calendar or your paper calendar, do you know what I'll see? Lots of vacation days. Because when I teach business planning clinic, I say every day that you're working, you're on an appointment. And if you're not on an appointment, you should go ahead and write in your calendar vacation day. And then show that to your family. Because most of us come into this industry because we want what? Flexibility. It's the number one answer after 100K. It's amazing. We all want to earn 100,000, but we want flexibility. So we flex ourselves right out of the industry because we don't even do what we need to do to go on the appointments in order to make the 100,000. So I want to encourage you as you're looking to finish strong. The year's not over. There's opportunity. I mean, your stats, those are great for your market of what's happening. Everyone in this room has an opportunity to go on an appointment every single day. What would it look like in your life if you were on an appointment every single day with a buyer or a seller or an investor or someone who might be interested in getting a career in real estate? Because that also can bring income through profit share, right? So once you learn how to fail forward, then we have to learn how to communicate. Now, as realtors, as agents, should you know how to communicate? Why?
You be confident, show your agents that your clients that you have the ability to do what needs to be done.
Yeah, I love that. And I used to say on my career nights, if you do not like people, this might not be the career for you. Right? Because you're going to have to communicate and be confident in that. What should we be communicating as agents?
Our worth.
Our worth, our value.
You should be asking more questions.
See, on the screen, you're going to see the word wait. Why am I talking? So often we walk into life, into relationships, into appointments, and what do? Blah, 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 blah. Because we want to tell everyone what we think they need to hear. And we all know in this room where that leads us. Because when we tell people what we think they need to hear, we tend to leave out some really important things that leads to nice little lawsuits that happen in our industry. Why we are where we are. I have to say we have to take full responsibility. Remember, full responsibility for all these failing moments. We caused it because we didn't know how to communicate to our clients. But see, there's a lot of casualties that are happening today in our relationships in life because we don't know how to communicate. We do not know how to ask powerful questions. So what are some powerful questions that you need to learn in your industry? What are some powerful questions that you need to learn for your relationships? And here's one. What are some powerful questions that you need to learn to be financially what? What does everybody want? To be financially what? Secure, independent, freedom. And here's what I know in sitting knee to knee, heart to heart, heart to heart, and coffee cup to coffee cup with people. They have no idea what the words secure, independent, or freedom means for them financially. Because they've never asked the questions to understand. So the reason most people don't hit their goals, and most people are sitting here today on September, whoa, we're in August, not September yet. Easy. And here in this August, what is this, the 19th? August 19th, and maybe has not hit their goals is because they haven't asked themselves the big questions that they need to ask so that they can communicate in order to achieve their goals. See, all of this applies not just in our business, but in all areas of our life. If you're missing the target on some of the things in your life, well, then it's time to step back and say, why am I talking? In other words, why am I here? What does this mean? See, we could be so skilled at our communication. Okay, now here's another thing for us as realtors. Now, we know that the secret sauce is what?
Go on appointment.
Go on appointments. That's your secret sauce. Now, let me ask you the question. Why do your clients hire you? Why do they hire an agent?
Trust,
Say it again?
trust,
Trust,
trust.
trust,
They
okay?
like you.
They like you.
They need someone to navigate the biggest transaction.
Okay, they need someone to navigate their biggest transaction, okay? So play with me on this one. Why?
Because they're not experts in that field. They need an expert.
Right? Because you maybe have sold a lot more houses than they have, right? So what skill, realtors, does your client really want you to have in hiring you?
Leadership, negotiation.
Bingo. So going on appointments is your secret sauce, your secret skill, your secret weapon, the one arrow that you're gonna pull out of your quiver when you're going for your target is negotiation. Would you agree with me? That's, if they're not saying it, that's why they're hiring you. Because think about it. How good are you for negotiating for yourself?
Great.
Have you bought a car lately? Right? Most of us are not, even as agents, we're not good at negotiating for ourselves. We put, matter of fact, in this room, I would imagine all of you are servant leaders. You put other people's needs before you all the time. So when it comes down to negotiating, you're going to allow someone else's needs to come before yours. That's because of who we are. So sometimes we need this other person to come and be an advocate for us on the other side to help communicate the negotiation. So if your clients are hiring you for negotiations, what are some things that you can do to lift that skill, to elevate that skill in your life? What are some things that you can do? Okay, hint on one, part of the 5 things of the job description of an agent. Okay, it was number 5. Hint. Scripts and role play. Why does scripts and role playing help you with negotiations?
Builds confidence.
Builds confidence, helps you get comfortable.
More effective communicator.
It helps you to become an effective communicator. Okay? What else can you do to get better at negotiation skills? Overcome objections, practicing those in scripts and role playing, yet overcoming, like, right, learning what to say to overcome them. Who could you listen to? Who's somebody you could listen to, or a book that you could read? Okay? Exactly what to say from Bill M. Jones. Who's this?
Ninja Star.
Oh, Ninja Selling. Yes, yes. Okay.
Never split the difference.
That's my favorite. Chris Voss, FBI hostage negotiator.
Masterclass also.
Masterclass on it. Wonderful podcast. He was negotiating for lives. We're negotiating for houses. And it's amazing what we can learn. See, most of us come into our careers here at real estate and we become professional students. We come and we sit into all of these things, guys, and we take great notes. And some of you now wear that little plug thing. You know what that is? Say I. It records everything that I say. And if somebody sends it to me, I'm like, I said that. Right? So some of us, we do all this and we have all of these notes. Matter of fact, in my inbox, I have several of our leaders that sent me their quad notes from all of Medicamp. Like, yay! And then I want to say, which ones are you going to actually execute? What are you going to do? See, building a successful life is all about failing forward and learning how to communicate effectively our goals and desires And so if nothing else, I hope that you will lean into every failing moment. If it's the secret sauce, you're going to wake up every single day and you're going to say, God, help me fail today. I want to fail today. Absolutely.
You
Is that what he said? Absolutely.
You said
Yes.
absolutely.
See? Throw it on the counter. Think about it. Most of us wake up every day and we're so scared of failing. We're scared of calling that for sale by owner. We're scared of talking to anyone about real estate. Right? But if we can wake up every day and say, today I will fail. And some days I wake up, I'm like, it's going to be big. And then when it happens, I'm like, well, maybe not so big next time. Right? But we'll wake up every day. And then every day we're going to wake up and we're going to learn how to communicate effectively. We're going to come to things just like this and sit and think of the questions. Matter of fact, I want to encourage you, open up your notes in your phone or get a Google Doc and start every day adding 5 questions that you could ask someone if you were having coffee with them. If you were in the presence of someone great, what are 5 questions you could ask them? I've been doing this for a while and I keep, tweaking them down. I have 50 questions right now that lives in a Google Doc to where if I had at any moment got into the presence of someone that I wanted to learn from, to learn how to communicate more effectively, I have questions that I can ask them for that. So as a thank you for today, what I'd love to do is if you will text this number with the word fail to it, I'm going to send you the first 3 chapters of my book, Trailer Park CEO. Because I went over 2 of the stones today with you that I talk about in my book of becoming a person of influence. But my book will give you all of the other ones. There's 12 stones. And then again, I'm from South Louisiana. We have this term, it's called lanyard. And so I have a little extra stone in there for you on generosity. And so I would love to be able to send that to you so that you can learn and learn more about my journey and how I have failed forward every single day of my life. But I've also learned how to communicate more effectively so that I can live out my purpose, which I write about in Trailer Park CO, and my purpose in life now that I get to communicate effectively is to impact the lives of others by being the hands and feet of Christ so that they too can experience the abundant life that is promised in John 10:10. Because what I do know, all of you want way more than $100,000 in real estate. All of you are seeking an abundant life. And we're in the best industry you could ever be in. Trust me, I know. I thought there were greener pastures on the other side and stepped into CEO of a hospital. Never, ever do that during COVID. And then because I didn't learn my lesson, I needed to fail forward one more time and become CEO of a law firm. And at the time I stepped into that role, there was a survey that came out and they, right after COVID, and they did this survey to all of these Americans and said, who do you trust most? And number 1 on the list, guess what it was? Nurses. Number 2, doctors. I had just left that industry. But fascinating enough, guess what was at the very bottom of the list?
Realtor.
Not
Car
that.
sales.
We were a little bit further. We went right into lawyers. And then guess what was right above the lawyers? Used car salesmen. And then
Realtors.
there's a reason that is the way it is. There's a perception that we put out there to our clients, guys. They took that survey and they ranked us right there with those billboard attorneys and those used car salesmen and trust, because we did not learn how to apply and how to communicate. So I thank you so much for allowing me to be with you today. I think we have 5 minutes left. If it's okay, I'd love to open up for questions. If I
Absolutely.
could do that.
Can you give us the code to get the text code?
Yes.
55444.
That one. I say I should know it, but I don't even know. We just set this up yesterday, so we're gonna see if it works, Manly. It works? There we go. It should be instant. Should be getting these things to you. And so you can follow me on any of the social media. I'd love to connect with you. But in our last 5 minutes, what I'd love to do is give you an opportunity, so to ask me any questions. And I would say, because I walked into this industry as an agent, just like you. And then I had an opportunity to become a productivity coach. And then I had an opportunity to step into the team leader role. And then I had the opportunity to be regional director of the Gulf States region. And now I get to have this opportunity to be your regional director of the award-winning Southeast region. And what I will tell you, my life is so full and so complete that I get to hang out with people like you. Yeah, and if we have 2 books that we do want to give away too, oh, we know that. Do you have 2 books? It comes out September 2nd. I do have some pre-order copies. Thank you. How can I serve you? What kind of questions can I ask you? And then I think y'all had tickets for.
Yeah, so we do tickets
We'll
for,
do that.
yeah,
We'll do that in a second too.
for the
What,
on-time,
what questions? What questions have you thought of today while I was speaking that I could answer for you?
Well, I have one.
Yes, please.
So I know you said you're led to being like the CEO of a medical company and then going to a law firm. I guess my question is, even though fear led you there, what did you learn from it that helped you jump back in time?
Oh, it's such a beautiful question. And I love that because I will tell you, I may seem brave to you in front of this room as I walk through those journeys of fear. But I'll tell you, there were many days I was in my car. Matter of fact, my first day that I pulled up into the parking lot at that hospital as CEO, I sat in a car for a few minutes, like, what have I just done? And then embarrassingly got into my CEO office and just sat at that desk. It was like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And what I had to learn very quickly is that where I was located into the hospital, I'm a people person. I learned through others. So I moved that office out of the administration building on that campus of that hospital, smack dab into the middle of the OR. Took over a patient recovery room, took all the equipment out, everything out, and put a desk and some nice little rug and said, if I am going to learn how to be CEO of this hospital, I'm going to get right into the middle of it. I'm going to do everything that I can to learn everything that I need to learn from my doctors, from my nurses, from my reps, from my vendors. And I just became a sponge. And every day I failed. Every day I would have to make big decisions. And I'd be like, I have no idea if this is the right decision or not. But I brought wise counsel in, brought my executive team in, and I talked to them. But you know what I did ultimately is I made a decision to be in action. I did not just sit in classrooms to learn or in my office to learn. I got out. I got into surgeries, started watching surgeries. I started meeting with my doctors. And so what I want to say to you is that all of you have fear right now of something in our industry. The only way you're going to overcome that is stepping out into action. You have to step, and that's why we have to reframe fail. The word fail is so that we can forgive, accept, inspect, and learn our way right through into our success. Don't let fear hold you back, and especially the fear of failure. And how about one more question? Anybody else? I did that good. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm curious about these 50 questions you have.
Yes.
What would you say, like, favorite or top question that you ask people?
That's hard because I got a lot of powerful ones in there. So maybe I can give you a couple. So one of them that I love to ask people is what life situation have you experienced that has impacted your life the most for good? Because that forces them to tell me probably, and when I've asked that, some big failing moment. It allows for them to share something that they went through and overcame it to be exactly where they are. So that's one of my favorites, because that's a quick question, just like, instead of saying, can you tell me how you failed? What's the worst thing you ever did? Like, that's a different way of reframing that to ask it. Another one that I'm always interested in that is a very popular question is like, who are the people that have had the most influence on you? And the reason I ask that is because for many, many years, the people who had the most influence on me had stinking thinking. They weren't growth mindset. Matter of fact, living and growing up in a trailer park, they wanted to keep you in the trailer park. They didn't want you out because that was what we do, right? And so when
I hate it when that happens.
I really hate
I guess I can start it over.
that was so good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why don't we just do it live? Maybe like that. So I'd like to win 2 books today, Daryl. So let's do that. All right, let's go.
Get out your ticket.
Chicken. All right, the last. Now I don't have my glasses on, so you're gonna have to read the
No,
last.
you're funny.
Wait, I can find glasses.
Look at the glasses. 9